As the Taliban swept into Kabul, it seemed like everyone and their cousin was bringing up Saigon.
President Biden is intent on avoiding a Saigon moment. That's a reference, of course, to the hasty and humiliating U.S. evacuation from Vietnam.
Video out of Kabul looks eerily reminiscent of the fall of Saigon.
It looks like Saigon 2.0 to me.
So, is the fall of Kabul a repeat of the fall of Saigon? Or maybe you weren't alive for the fall of Saigon and don't get the reference. If you need a history class, a short one, we're here for you. Time for a Truthometer Minute. Hi, I'm John Greenberg with PolitiFact. The similarities between Afghanistan and Vietnam are striking. A long war, backed by American might and money, ends with the sudden collapse of the capital city. Local people who counted on America rush to escape. The evacuation is chaotic. After the 9/11 attacks, the war in Afghanistan was part of the war on terror. The war in Vietnam had totally different roots. Let's roll back the clock about 70 years. The Vietnam War was a flashpoint in the Cold War, the post-World War II global struggle between capitalism, led by the United States, and communism, led by the Soviet Union. In the mid-1950s, Vietnam was split in two, with communists in the north and a government created by the U.S. in the south. By 1968, more than 500,000 American troops were in the fight, and anti-war sentiment was strong at home. With American pressure, a peace treaty was signed in 1973, and in 3 months, all U.S. combat troops were gone. About a year later, the North Vietnamese army began a slow advance southward. By the spring of 1975, they were closing in on South Vietnam's capital, Saigon. American officials saw the end coming. 2 weeks before Saigon fell, the White House National Security Council wrote, "Intelligence reports indicate the North Vietnamese army have already decided to attack Saigon." They said the North Vietnamese might be able to walk into town and take over. Saigon fell at the end of April. Wave after wave of helicopters ferried people to Navy ships close offshore. To make room on the deck for more arrivals, Navy crews pushed helicopters into the sea. Many people fled directly by boat. If there's one key difference between Vietnam and Afghanistan, the collapse in Vietnam took about a year and a half. In Afghanistan, the government forces collapsed in a matter of weeks. It was only about 10 days between the time the Taliban took their first provincial capital to when they entered Kabul. When the last resistance faded, the two evacuations, the one in 1975 and the other in 2021, bore the telltale signs of haste and confusion. In Kabul, the airport was the escape route. The Americans seemed completely caught off guard. Embassy staff decamped to the airport. U.S. forces took over air traffic control. To some extent, President Joe Biden himself acknowledged the problem.
This did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated.
America went to Vietnam to fight communism. It went to Afghanistan to fight terrorism. Government corruption dogged both countries. Both lay far from our shores. America tried to chart the fate of Vietnam for over 15 years. It tried to do the same in Afghanistan for nearly 20. If the final days of both efforts looked similar, it's because both faced similar hurdles. As Marine Corps historian Nathan Packard put it, if you had to pick two of the hardest countries to operate in, Vietnam and Afghanistan would be high on the list. Packard says he's surprised that we did this again. That's it for this Truthometer Minute. If you like our approach to facts, visit our website, PolitiFact.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and weekly newsletter, and if you really like what we do, you can pledge a few dollars to keep us going strong. Thanks.